That stuff is flat. That stuff is flat. That stuff is flat. I'm filming with a special camera today, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit Todd 100 times in a single second. First, you'll see it in real time, and then we're going to play it back in super slow motion, not just regular slow motion, super slow motion, so that you can see all of the techniques in their precision and the way that I executed them. So, here we go. Ready. Set. Great. Now let's play that video back and see what the heck I did.
Throughout all of physics, throughout Newtonian mechanics, came up with a brand new idea of 4D space-time geometry that bends and warps, and actually, even though we're curving around the sun, we're not curving, we're going straight. We're going straight in an orbit, and then we're free-falling through a geodesic path, and we weren't able to detect it because it's just linear motion, and the interferometry can't detect it. But then in 2004, we actually detected linear motion with the interferometry by weighing, which even disproves that explanation. So there is no way the Earth is orbiting. It's a fact. So your subjective opinion of how you think it's cognitive dissonance or it's convenient doesn't in any way combat the physical empirical measurements. So have you researched any of that?
Are you ready for Michaels and Morley?
Yeah. Michaels and Morley?
Sorry, Nichols and Morley.
Hello? I can't talk right now. Speed hitting. What? Okay, I'll call you back later.
So stupid for not believing. They throw the mainstream scientists under the bus. But anyway, of course, he actually showed that when you use a lens and based on the angle of view, that it'll look like things are curving, just like it can look like things are curving up. Right? So in these videos of the balloons where it looks like it's curving and then it tilts up, it looks like the Earth is concave. That's just what lenses do. And they claim that, oh, a rectilinear lens doesn't have any curvature. That is objectively not true. There isn't a lens that exists in all of existence that doesn't impose curvature and distortion. So when it actually levels out, you can see that it's flat and rising towards eye level, and that's a globe problem.
Okay.
Privately explore there, they don't let you go. I know this for a fact. I reached out and tried to do it. I reached out and tried to get approval. I asked them what the prices were. I even tried to line up people that would pay the $250,000 permit fee, and there's all kinds of crazy fees, and they will not let you go across Antarctica. So that's why people haven't done it. It's literally not allowed. It's that if gravity allegedly were true, we can tell with empirical evidence it clearly wouldn't be strong enough to prevent gas from escaping in all directions, because where gravity supposedly is the strongest at the surface, gas will still immediately and violently fill the available space of a vacuum. So you could not have quote-unquote gravity holding it down, as we can test the claim on the Earth and prove it violates the second law of thermodynamics.
Is it round or flat?
Weather balloons travel all the way to the very edge of space. It's a world to which few humans ever get to travel. But now, for the first time ever, 360-degree cameras have made it possible for us to immerse ourselves in that voyage.
Did you actually see how bumpy it is?
This will be the highest that any 360-degree camera has ever traveled. temperatures will drop to 60 degrees below zero.
Only vacuum can even get remotely close to that on the Earth is like 10 to the -7, I think, and it takes like immensely thick concrete walls with rebar, and it still doesn't really work as far as insane maintenance. But even in that situation, if you had a pressurized system, certainly like 14.7 psi at the surface, right, it's going to violently fill the available space because entropy always increases. So with all natural systems, entropy increases, therefore the amount of usable energy decreases. It's going to fill the available space, violently seeking equilibrium. And so if we actually had a pressurized system on the Earth and it was encompassed by this ever-expanding vacuum of space, the gas would violently fill the available space. It has infinite space to fill. So you, according to the second law of thermodynamics, you literally could not have this gas pressure system we have on the Earth that keeps us alive inside of a vacuum of 10 to the -17 torque. Could not be adjacent to that. It violates the second law of thermodynamics, which is the most indisputable and agreed upon natural law, which isn't a theory, it's just observation. It's a natural law. So it's a major globe problem.
William and Witsit, what prompted Albert Einstein to derive special relativity? William, go ahead first.
Different observations he made, such as the bending of light around massive objects.
And Witsit?
That's incorrect. That's Arthur Eddington experiment, and that is general relativity, the bending, right, where there is no curvature of space-time and special relativity. But in 1905, he proposed that because of the 1887 Michelson-Morley experiment. You had to say the apparatus contracted to compensate for just a sufficient amount for the missing time difference that would have been predicted. This is going to be fast, sorry, based on the assumed orbital speed of the Earth, and that wasn't observed. So very simply, Newtonian mechanics says the object's going to move in a straight path unless an outside force acts upon it. So if the Earth's curving around the sun, there must be an outside force acting upon the Earth, curving it. But we didn't detect the circular motion with interferometry, which you would provably be able to do. So Einstein saved the day, came up with a new theory to keep the orbit claim by saying we're actually going straight in our orbit and we're not curving and we're free falling, and that's why you weren't able to detect it. And he had to contract the apparatus and then say time slows down and all this other stuff. So Einstein himself said that the reason he came up with special relativity was because of the Michelson-Morley experiment and like experiments proving that the Earth doesn't orbit unless we change physics.
The Earth is flat. That is freaking me out.
Say everything is spinning one way, okay? And when you look out, just like how a hallway looks like it's converging, right? That's what happens in the sky. The ground looks like it's ramping, the ground looks like it's ramping up, the sky looks like it's ramping down. So the sky is gonna kind of look like it's coming down in the distance. If it's spinning, so in the north it spins counterclockwise, right? If you turn around and looked at it, it would look like it's going clockwise. This is just a fact. The best argument for the globe would be, yeah, but why is there a pole rotation? Okay, that's the argument that you guys, why is there actually a central point that the stars are moving around the opposite way? The actual appearance of the opposite way isn't a problem at all for flat Earth. It's easily explained with perspective. That's what happens. Some of the gas does go into space, like tons and tons, but just, I guess some of it does, some doesn't. So good point that even a smaller vacuum is going to have the gas fill it on the Earth. If you put a shoebox with gas inside of a vacuum chamber and open the lid, it's going to violently escape, right? But somehow we have this ever expanding, limitless vacuum around us, and the gas pressure of the atmosphere is just sitting there. So yeah, it's second law of thermodynamics. The gas would fill the available space if their model was true. It doesn't. And of course, again, the electric field being vertical and uniform and equipotential proves that there's a physical Gaussian surface above us, also debunking the vacuum claim. It just happened set up the exact way to make the Earth look like it's in the center of the whole universe. And we're talking about the vast majority of the universe, not just the little solar system. So that's a way more you problem. You think that most of the universe is conspiring to deceive everyone on the Earth with all astronomy to make it look like we're in the center. That's what your position says. So the neotectonic system, the tectonic system came before your belief that we fly around the sun. What interferometry measured it stationary, so we don't even have to speculate about which one makes more sense. One's been measurably proven with interferometry.
That stuff is flat.
Operation Highjump complete. Our men have achieved accomplishments unparalleled in the history of discovery. Our central group has flown far beyond the South Pole, mapped 1/3 million square miles never before seen by man.
That stuff is flat.
Our eastern group mapped 3,000 miles of phantom coast and charted 40,000 square miles of coastal ocean areas hitherto unknown.
That stuff is flat.
Our western group, flying hundreds of air hours, mapped the 4,000-mile sunset coast, made the amazing discovery of warm land in Antarctica.
That stuff is flat.
In all, the expedition explored more than 1.5 million square miles. Our scientists, by use of the radar magnetic detector, have pinpointed fabulous treasures and resources of great significance for all mankind.
Magic. Music.
If gravity allegedly were true, we can tell with empirical evidence it clearly wouldn't be strong enough to prevent gas from escaping in all directions, because where gravity supposedly is the strongest at the surface, gas will still immediately and violently fill the available space of a vacuum. So you could not have quote-unquote gravity holding it down, and we can test the claim on the Earth and prove it violates the second law of thermodynamics. So that's the actual point that keeps getting skated past.
That stuff is flat.
So you can't see forever. I don't know why people think you can. Things in the sky go down, the ground ramps up until it reaches like the optical limit. And actually it's curved visual space. And one thing I will point out about the Southern Star Trails, which I find very interesting, is everyone thinks, they claim that they can see them, all see the Southern Cross from these continents all looking south. No, they're not looking south. Actually, look at the observations. They look like southwest. They look at different elevation angles and different directions. They don't all look the same directly south. That's not true. And in fact, the way that they get their cardinal direction is by making magnetic declination corrections, right? Which is just whatever they claim it is in the south. So you could think they're looking opposite directions, because you made a huge correction, because in the south it gets crazy, when actually they're not. So anyway, yeah, you can't see forever on a flat Earth. It isn't complicated, man.
That stuff is flat. That stuff is flat.
So nobody has seen the curvature of the Earth from that height. I just want to make that clear. Okay?